Gemini, this is your week ahead astrology forecast from Astrology Motivation by Born Without Boundaries. In this video, we are going to go over the major planetary aspects and transits and how they impact your natal sun and what that means for your day-to-day. We're going to start really wide and broad with the big stuff that's impacting everybody, and then we'll focus down into the things that specifically Geminis, as Geminis, you should focus or you should be aware of. And then I will break things down into decans. A decan is a group of 10 degrees. And there are 3 decans in Gemini, in every zodiac sign, because every zodiac sign is a total of 30 degrees. So these decans help us as astrologers to get more accurate predictions, because accurate interpretations of what's happening right now, because all of astrology is based on geometry. And a major tenet of geometry is angles. And an angle is, in astrology, is what creates an aspect. An aspect is the energetic relationship or the outcome of a specific angles happening between different planets. And as astrologers, that's how we know how things are going to impact your natal sun. So if your natal sun is somewhere between 0 and 9 degrees Gemini, you are a Gemini 1, because your natal sun is in the first decan of Gemini. If your natal sun is somewhere between 10 and 19 degrees Gemini, you are a Gemini 2. And if your natal sun is somewhere between 20 and 29 degrees Gemini, you are Gemini 3. Let's start really broad. If you guys, listen, you don't have to have your natal chart. You don't have to know if you're confused right now. Like, what do you mean my natal sun is where? I will give correlating dates. You know when your birth date is, so I'll tell you what the correlating dates are. But the most accurate way to know which decan and just what degree the sun sits on in Gemini is to get your natal chart. And you can do that very easily for free over the internet. You need your birth date, which you already have, your birth time, and your birth location, all of which is available on your birth certificate. So let's get into the big stuff. The big stuff this week is actually pretty intense because there's a lot of stuff happening. So quick review, we have the new moon in Taurus on May 19th. I got everything written down just so you know where my eyes are going. We have the new moon in Taurus on May 19th at 28 degrees Taurus while trine to Pluto. So this is a real beautiful new start. We cleared out the toxins and the nastiness over the full moon lunar eclipse 2 weeks ago. And now this is the fresh start. This is actually the happiness. This is actually the sprout coming up and the newness starting to grow. So this is really beautiful energy. And in Taurus, it's very abundant, maybe even luxurious. I like the abundance. It could be very opulent. We don't want to go toward opulence. That's excessive. There's a lot of abundance here, and there's a lot of joy here. Jupiter is now in Taurus as well, so there's super abundance. This is a beautiful energy. Another major transit that happens this week is on May 20th, Mars transits into Leo, which is where it's happier. It's not comfortable in Cancer, but in Leo, it is confident, it's competent, it's sure of itself, it's brave, and it's driven. And I love this energy for Mars. And then we also have on May 21st, so we have the 19th, on the 19th, we have the new moon. On the 20th, we have Mars into Leo. On the 21st, the sun leaves Taurus, so Taurus season ends with that beautiful new moon, and Gemini season begins. So that's right, you guys, happy Gemini season. This is the perfect way to get ready for the summer. The sun is light-hearted, friendly, playful, witty, intelligent, conversational, friendly, and curious when it is in Gemini. So enjoy and happy birthday to all of you. So we'll talk about where the sun is conjuncting when it first comes in. I think some of you already know. And then we get into the major aspects. The major aspects this week are concern Pluto and Mars and Jupiter, because Pluto and Mars and Jupiter are in this kind of triangle in the sky together. Pluto is in opposition to Mars, and they're both square to Jupiter. So Jupiter sits right between them. So they're kind of in this like little duck bill configuration, right? It's almost like it's a major compression. It's a major push. It's major. We're not going to let anything stay behind. It's like when you're squeezing out that last piece of toothpaste, like from the fucking tube. It's kind of like that. We're relentless. We're not letting anything be stuck. We're going to unclog this drain like a roto-rooter. We will get through. Now, sometimes this energy could be ruthless. Energy could be like, I'm going to unclog that drain even if I have to blow up the pipe. But Pluto is in retrograde. And so I really like that. It's a little bit more overtly docile. It is definitely more under the cover, like undercover, like it's sussing out what it has to. Pluto in retrograde is very investigative, and so it kind of is churning up what needs to be revealed, right? For when it comes out of retrograde in the fall. This happens almost every summer. Pluto, Neptune, and Saturn all go into retrograde. So this is not an energy to fear at all. It kind of just marks the slowing down of what the Northern Hemisphere knows as the summer season. So let's get into another major aspect, Venus square to Chiron. This is big energy simply because of everything else going on around it. This is really what we need to purge, those things about ourselves that we're self-conscious on, like not liking our personal self-image, never feeling good or feeling beautiful enough, or all that hurt and pain and nastiness that's come from financial difficulties, not being valued, or bad romances. All has to be purged, come to the surface and brought to light. But now there's challenges. And sort of with it all, everything coming up, I think it's the perfect time for it to come up, because we will be able to get rid of it completely, but that doesn't make it easy. Now let's double down and look at what specifically you guys should take note of. And that is where Mercury is. Mercury is out of retrograde. Thank God. Mercury is out of, it's been out of retrograde since the 15th, and so you could still be feeling that whiplash from that, just from Mercury starting to go direct. It's not moving at its fastest yet, but it is moving forward, so that's a really good thing. Mercury is sextile to Saturn, in opposition to the South Node and conjunct the North Node. It is getting things done, and this is an exceptional time to get to work and to move forward in your career, to be able to communicate correctly. Your resumes will be written well, your interviews will go well, your tests will be taken well. This is an exceptional energy for progress, and I think you guys will feel that. Now, let's get into the decans. If your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees, you are decan 1 or Gemini 1. What that correlates to usually is May Geminis. So between the 22nd of May and the 30th of May, in and around, or maybe up to 29th, you are Gemini 1s. Definitely if you are a Taurus cusp, you are a Gemini 1. Your natal sun is going to be conjunct the sun, because the sun is dropping into Gemini right where you are. And I think you guys get the biggest impact of everything that transits in, because it's when a planet first transits that the energy is most intense, the change, the shift is most intense, and you guys are at ground zero. So the sun is going to be conjuncting your natal sun. This gives you courage. This gives you confidence. This gives you clarity, and this gives you purpose and drive. So if your energy levels and your confidence levels go up, you will know why. Your natal sun is also sextile to Mars while this is happening, which means uber energy, major opportunities to be physical, to actually get something done and move. And Mars, since Mars is now going to be in Leo, and your natal suns are conjunct the sun, this means the sun is sextile to Mars in Leo. You have purpose, you are certain, you are sure. This is definitely a time to go ahead and I don't know, interview or take that chance or go debut something. Whatever it is, there's confidence and there's courage in you. And it is a time when you will really shine. Meanwhile, your natal suns are also trine to Pluto. So come on, man. That just means that there are big changes are happening, but they're happening and it's going to be really beautiful, especially this week. Long-term aspect, your natal suns are square to Saturn, which is, like dissonance or dealing with bills or dealing with maybe even just trouble with work, right? Trouble with authority figures, trouble with laws, rules, regulations. It doesn't mean you're getting into trouble. It just means that they're getting in your way or they're hindering progress and they're pissing you off. But that's to show you what needs to change. And with this energy, you can actually take a chunk out of anything you want. So go for it. Now, Gemini 2s. And those Gemini 2s are pretty much the first 10 days in June, or maybe from like the 30th of May through the 9th or 10th of June. So they're in and about, if that's your birthday, you're about the second decan. You guys kind of have a light week, except by proxy. So your natal suns for a while, and for a while longer, for at least 2 or 3 more years, is going to be sextile to Saturn. That's nothing new. That means that you are drawing inspiration and finding purpose and advancement, or you're finding inspiration and opportunity to make your suffering and your sadness, or the way that your pain, turn it into something progressive, and turn it into something that is good, turn it into something that will help you grow, and sort of, that's exactly it. So this is a very cathartic time period in your life, and that, like I said, it will be happening for a couple of years. But this week, because Venus is square to Chiron, you can expect that there are going to be, especially for you guys, some really pain in the ass situations that come up when it comes to your romance relationships, your financial relationships. Since this is all square to your sun, Chiron is conjunct your sun, so Venus is square to your natal sun. Loss of confidence in yourself, not feeling as beautiful, or feeling like your value is always compromised, or having to deal with some financial crap that's just getting you down. This is not a good time to do your hair. This is not a good time to get a makeover. This is not a good time to make over the house or change anything aesthetic. This is not a good time to make any big ticket item purchases, big ticket purchases. So no, don't buy your house this week. Don't buy your car this week. Put it off until next week, because there will be some sort of at least aesthetic compromise or value compromise that is just not going to be good. So hold off on that for this next week, maybe week and a half. But beside that, you guys are pretty all good. Okay, and let's move on to Gemini 3s. Gemini 3s, you have long-term transits. Long-term aspects. And they're all with outer planets. So they're going to be around for a couple years. So your natal suns are square to Neptune, they're trine to Saturn, and they're quincunx to Pluto. Now, the only reason why this is big is because Pluto is very active right now. Neptune is kind of active too, since it is trine to Mars. But ultimately, I think the big deal is Pluto. Pluto, as in the changes that are happening, because it's a quincunx to your natal sun, it's agitating. It's agitating and frustrating because you don't have much control over it, right? So it's like kind of Jesus take the wheel stuff. But since Pluto is now square to Jupiter, which makes it even more intense, and opposite Mars, which makes it even more physical and pugilistic, things could irritate you a lot this week and really kind of get you angry or make you mad, or you could be more pop-offish than usual. So find a space to ground yourself, especially for you guys. Meditation and breath helps to ground you so that you don't get used by this energy. Instead, maybe you can utilize the energy by taking action on something that matters to you. It will be difficult to maybe just hold your temper, getting hot-headed. All of those things could be something that you have to struggle with this week. Just an FYI, because not just this week, Pluto is squared to Jupiter for the next 4 weeks, so to mid-June. So yeah, basically to mid-Gemini season. Happy birthday to you. But seriously, yeah, right till some of your birthdays. So Pluto is going to be square to Jupiter, and it's going to be opposite Mars for the next week and a half. So at least for the next week and a half, know that this sort of agitation under the skin and things will irritate you a lot more. You won't stay like this. It won't remain like this, but it can be extra frustrating. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful week. Before you leave, please subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you know when I upload your favorite content. And definitely, Gemini, come on across to Born Without Boundaries Tarot, where you can enjoy your week ahead tarot card reading. I love you, and I'll see you next week. Bye, Gemini.